Hey guys, how you doing? Hope all is well. Let me get my sound together. Turn it down a little bit. Feel like I'm a little loud in my ear. Hey, change, right? Hope all is well. Hope your morning's gone well. Hope your work day's well. Hope your kid's first day back to school has been non-stressful. Hope it's been a very smooth transition. Hope everyone in America's doing great. How is everyone doing? It's been a while. Hope this sounds good. Seems like we're good. Look really good on all platforms right now. Listen, you're probably wondering, where have I been? Why did I change? The name change and what's really driving it? Listen, we're going to have all of this conversation along with today's events in America. We got Trump speaking. We got Levitt on the air right now talking. Excuse me. As you guys can notice, I have the dual setup. I've adjusted it. I hope you guys enjoy it. Now, before I really get deep off into this, just know that I appreciate all of you, and I'm gonna check my sound real quick. Hold on. This, just know that I appreciate. Yep, we're good. All right. So look, why did I do all of this? Why the change? Here's the truth. I honestly don't know if I really want to do this like that, right? So listen, when I first started this journey, this was just show. This was just play. And I know I've talked about this with you guys, but truth be told, I really don't care to do this. Like this whole streaming thing, right? Like it was fun. It was great. I've done it for 2 years. So the reason I changed was to kind of give me that creative feel and that vibe to maybe want to do this for real. Like it's been for fun most of the time and it's been cool. You know what I'm saying? We've talked about crazy stories, crazy ideas, theories, and a whole lot of other stuff. But I'm on here to make sure that I still want to do this, right? Because it does take time, it does take effort, takes a little bread. So me personally, I want to make sure that I have everything in line and that I'm still feeling the thrill of this. Don't get me wrong. Covering conspiracies and talking about history and what's going on has been a very eye-opening experience for me. As far as how I've grown with this, remember when I first started, guys, we were just doing videos and just talking shit and having a good time. And it could still be that. It's not like it's gonna go anywhere. But like me just sitting here streaming and talking and going over these stories, uh, it's cool. I don't really see a whole lot of funds from it, so I know I'm not necessarily doing it for money. I would like my production to look great, and I appreciate that it does look good, you know? But the big thing for me in doing all of this is that am I making a dent? Is someone really listening? Is someone learning? Do I care enough to keep doing this? Because given everything that's going on right now in America and in the world, I mean, it sucks. I can't put that any other way. Like, we're in a situation where we really don't know where we're going. You got a lot of people from both sides, left and right, saying that, America's burning, it's going down. One side saying it's being saved. For me, I don't really know if it's worth talking about anymore, man. Like, for real. Like, if this was really worth, like, mentioning and putting out, you know what I'm saying? I feel like, it would go further, or I would go further with it. But it's not something that I just want to do. So the shift towards, I feel like documentaries is where I see my best efforts going. Streaming's cool. I may do like the deep dive feel and, once a week night show, kind of keep it like it was in the 90s on public access TV and understand that, back then on public access TV, this is what it looked like. Good morning, guys. How you doing? This is what public access TV used to look like, right? Guy would be sitting here talking to you, giving you facts, you know, Back then, he would may have a whiteboard or a chalkboard or something, but it's 2025. We're digital. I can do this. I'd rather sit here and do documentaries and more public access style commentary than to sit here and try to sensationalize and get reactions. And I'm kind of over that. Like, it's been great streaming. I love streaming. It's fun, but just doing the daily grind of streaming for this, I don't really care. I'm gonna tell you why. Like I've said it before, I know what I research. I know what I read. I know what we talk about. We've talked about operation projects, all kinds of stories, guys. And just sitting here watching it all unfold is just like blah. Why am I sitting here still streaming? Why am I still talking about it? I rather just tell the stories from the past. That just seems to what everyone would rather see. I would rather do that just from a creative standpoint. Just gonna be honest. The Daily Rabbit Hole is one of the dopest things I've ever created. And where it's gone and where it could go is what I'm looking at. But yeah, Daniel, kind of like the next Mr. Rogers for conspiracies. So I would rather do it like that, man, than to just sit here and do like a daily podcast and just keep talking about absolutely like nothing and just fueling the propaganda machine. That's my issue too. A lot of this is fueling it. A lot of this doesn't go anywhere. I don't feel like it's good information. It's propaganda. We're all playing the rat race in podcasting, and I don't like it. I would rather do documentaries, do my TDRH files, and sit in the background and act and do public access style commentary. We'll sit here for a whole hour and cover the Book of Enoch as long as I feel like the information is dope and it's reaching. It may be some twist to it, we put some style to it or whatever, but just to sit here and sensationalize and just talk and talk and talk, I'm tired of that, guys. I'm good. I actually miss sitting here all night talking about like going through the literature in my book online with you guys and just breaking it down. I miss that more than anything. So when I come up here and I got both screens on, it's gonna be like a special coverage situation. Like I'll cover like speeches, I'll cover events, stuff that goes on that we need to maybe pay attention to. Just want to cover, but for me, man, I'm over the whole rat race of the podcast game. I'm over that. I'm probably gonna get rid of my Spotify. I'm probably gonna TikTok. It's on its deathbed right now. I'm gonna be honest. The only reason I still got it is because I got decent little following. People respond. I don't like killing stuff because I feel like people do like it. I actually believe people like the brand and like what I've done and what we've created and whatnot. But I do feel in the same breath like it could be better. It could be so much more. I don't want to do what Candace Jones does. Candace Owens, I mean. I don't want to do what Alex Jones does. I'm thinking of both of them. I don't want to do what Ian Carroll's doing. Like, I want to get to that ability and that level, but in my own lane. Like, I want to do documentaries. I don't really care so much to sit up here live and talk to y'all excessively about current events. I don't, because it's propaganda. It's a story within a story within a story, and a lot of the times the creators that you guys are listening to, and I keep saying it, they're controlled opposition. Like even in alt media, it's hard to sit here and watch it again because they're talking about the things we want to hear, but they're still leaning to a side. And even when I do like, stuff on like Facebook and whatnot, the same resistance that I got from the left when Biden was in office is the same resistance I'm getting from the right now that Trump's in office. And I knew this was going to happen. And because both of you guys want to, some of you people are still holding on to there's someone that's going to save you. This is going to come out one way or another. No, it's not. It's not looking good. No matter who's in office, yes, there are things that they are saying that sound really good right now to us. I swear to you, I'm not going to sit here and take away what the right has done. Kennedy, Trump, and a few others, they have done things that stand out, but I am not stupid. Like, I'm not finna sit here and keep doing this back and forth thing. Like, I rather stick to the meat and potatoes of this and focus on the real issue, not the puppets. The puppets, the puppets is just the puppets are just the puppets, man. Like, it's like watching a marketing event. It's like watching a movie again. It's hard for me to really believe that these people are working in our favor, and I say that all the time. And this is what the brand is about. This is what the Daily Rabbit Hole was built on. This is what TDRH Media is trying to push to. I want to push to something that's real. I want to move to something that's modern, sleek, but we still talk about the real stuff, man. This whole left and right thing, I'm over it. Because I can point out on both sides they're lying. Like, come on. You know Maxwell's probably going to get a pardon. You guys know this. Come on. It's not a secret. Like, a lot of this stuff we're watching, even a broken clock gets it right. Like, every president has done something that we thought was meaningful early, and then long term it destroyed everything. At what point are we gonna really pay attention to 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 how we can get out of this? Because grandstanding and gerrymandering and pandering, I'm not doing that. I hate that. I can't stand that shit. I'm not even gonna lie to you. The only reason I am this far into this is because I like talking about this stuff. I feel like people should know. And to be honest, if you really are watching it, it's pretty easy to spot. I do it because it's kind of cool. Plus, my life went in so many directions in the last 2 years that the Daily Rabbit Hole was something that I built. I got further deeper in as I had more time. I just want this brand to be real. Like, I don't want to sit here and just go through that whole motion of curating news and following stories, and it's cool, but it, it's just propping it up even more. I don't mind covering like press. Like, I don't mind. Hey Keith, it says absolutely agree with you on both sides are on the same in the end. They just give the illusion of choice. They do. And why would I sit here and keep doing that? We're too far in. Like, listen, over the last 100 years, I keep saying that, right? If you ever notice, a lot of my content is the last 100 and something years, usually. It's been both sides the last 100 years. The only reason that, like I said, I cover this is because I can watch it in real time, and it's cool to sit here with y'all. Like, this is cool to me. Like, sitting here, green screen, I've come a long way. Green screen production, dual screens, and we can always we can move around. See what I'm saying? Like, I've come a long way. Like, I'm able to do things now. Like, I have a real setup. And what I do now is that I want to give real insight. I just make it look cool for the aesthetic because some of y'all got short memories and short attention spans. So I got to make sure that I give this aesthetic. I'm still the same person, but I don't lean left or right. They both suck. They both suck. Like, I don't want to sit here and act like they're great. Like, the Daily Rabbit Hole is not Democratic. It's not Republican. Someone called me a communist yesterday. I'm not even a communist. I'm probably the, if you've gone through my content, if you really paid attention, see, I don't really go so far to say a whole lot of stuff, but if you really follow me, you understand what kind of person I am. I really don't lean with anything. Like I'm uniquely myself. I'm okay with that. But I've learned too doing this and watching, the whether it's real people, bots, or feds. You guys really believe what they tell you on TV, and it's so strange to me. It's so remarkably strange to me how you all believe what's on your TV. Not you all, because I know the people who follow the Daily Rabbit Hole understand. But it's hard to sit here and really just, play this left and right game. I don't like that. I feel like that's mm, this is why my aesthetic is black. You know what I'm saying? Like the black white flag, because I'm somewhere in between both. Like I don't really like all any of you. Like left, right, up, down. Like a lot of these narratives have gotten old. And if this is the last president, we've talked about this so many times, then I would appreciate that we all acknowledge that it really is and take it for what it is. And some people are holding on to hope, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. I get it. Excuse me. We all want someone to come in and be there for us. But I assure you, there's nothing good coming from anything that's transpired in the last 4 or 5 days. The only reason I'm on here now is because I want to get the flow. I want to make sure that I really want to do this. Like I said, I'm in a place where I don't know if I really want to just stream like that and do this. Like I could keep it as a passion and just have fun, but if I do this, I want it to be documentaries and I want it to mean something. I don't want to just be here talking and saying words. Hope that makes sense to you guys. If sure, the censorship on Facebook is part of the game. It is what it is. And why I'm on Facebook right now is because I still owe you guys a conversation. Like I don't have a vendetta against Facebook. I'm just over the censorship. I'm still on Facebook. It's my largest crowd. Minus my TikTok page that was deleted in the past, but that's another conversation. What I'm saying is this. I do this for the love of it. I don't do it for really advertising. I don't really do it to make money. Now, making money would be great. I would, if I could make some money, that would be great. But I don't really do this for money. I do this because, I feel like someone has to say it, and I grew up watching public access television. I grew up watching like the guys on TV talking about the Bible at night and the end times and Alex Jones and David Icke and all the other people who came from this crowd who are just legends now in the game. I'm the generation that grew up watching them. And I would like to go back to that public access field. Me personally. I'll sit here. We could sit here and go through the book of Enoch. We could go through the Jubilees. We could go through the Bible. We go through DARPA. We can go through all of that stuff. But I do not want to sit here and talk about press, media, propaganda all day long. I'll do it every now and then. Like that'll be like a show. Like if I cover something, it'll be days like this. You know what I'm saying? Like if I do media, it'll be media coverage. But to be honest, this is too much, man. To sit here and play the propaganda game. I don't want to do that. So documentaries, mini docs, maybe morning reports like this when we do coverage and stuff like that. I can rock out with a morning report and maybe a deep dive. I prefer the public access feel. So you may get the deep dives out of me more than you'll get me sitting here ranting, creatively ranting. Now, don't get it twisted. Like, my rants were fire, okay? My rants were good. If you're listening and you understand me, like, I tend to bounce around. That's why I always say wall break. But I want the Daily Rabbit Hole and TDRH Media to stand for something. That's all. That's it. If I make money from it, great. Like, that's what, I lean on donations for. You know what I'm saying? I lean on my monetization. Sometimes that's a hassle to work through, but the little bit of pennies that I get from monetization goes back to the brand. So, I feel like public access TV sometimes. Like, I don't make a whole lot of money. I get some sponsorships. Some people endorse, some people hire me to do graphics for them, and we can display on the show. Bro, I'm rocking hard like 30 years ago the way I'm trying to do this, and I'm building from the ground up. 2 years in, I hope 10 years from now, TDRH Media is a major, at least mid-medium platform, and our documentaries are out. We're doing better on interviews and stuff like that. Also, I am implementing that roundtable. So I am looking for people to discuss these events and these stories and operations with. Now, there's gonna be some vetting. Like, I can't have everyone on my shit saying something crazy, because you know how this game goes. Feds, informants, Project Pogo, Project Zypher. It could be an implant, it could be controlled op. You never know. But I am gonna reach out to some creators, because again, they could be that too. But I don't know, and only way to find out is to reach out. So for me, I'm not giving up. I'm just refining what I'm doing, because what I was doing before was stale to me. It's very stale. I'm still telling the story with the brand and where I'm at, but I want my shit to mean something. I don't care. We could talk about the views and the money, but all those people end the same way. They're gonna all end under some type of scandal, and their platform's gonna be demonetized, and they're gonna disappear. How do I know? Because it's already happening. The U.S. aid money dried up, and a lot of your favorite content creators and podcasters and rappers are all going broke. But guess what? Guess who's still here? The Daily Rabbit Hole is. So, always understand this. I am a normal person. I am not anyone special. I'm just a guy with a little bit of elbow grease and wherewithal to make something happen for himself on, a streaming platform in the internet. I am not like some guru out here. I am not a professor. I am just a guy who likes to research, who has a lot of books, and who has time to read. Pretty decent pattern recognition skills, too. Toot my own horn there. But I do think what I do matters. I just want it to matter to me. It matters to y'all, and I respect that. But it doesn't matter to me, and that makes it hard for me to want to do it. Right? Makes sense? Okay. Cool, right? So, on my left, this is the DC federalization. This is what's going down in DC. Just, people are keeping the coverage. You know how that goes. And on my right, we have whatever's showing on that news outlet that I'm streaming. Technically, I'm waiting on Trump to take the stage in about 20 minutes, give or take. So what's about to happen is we're going to hang out. This is how a lot of these things are going to go. We're just going to kind of hang out, talk about the press, the media, some psyops, things that I've noticed, things I might want to talk about, and going from there. I could read comments too. The big thing on my old platform was that I wanted to interact with you guys more. I don't know how to. I haven't figured out how to make my comment banner show up on Streamlabs OBS desktop. But guys, I put your comments on the screen, so that helps. But I can read them too. So Keith says it's absolutely nothing Absolutely nothing with you wanting it matter to yourself. Yes, I want this to matter to me. Like, if it doesn't matter to me, then I don't care about it and I won't do it. I'm just that kind of person. If I don't like it, I'm not doing it. It's kind of what made me who I am now. So, sitting here and being more open and candid with you guys is something more than I'll do, as opposed to sitting here and ranting and sensationalizing. I don't want to do that, like I said. But I do enjoy talking about these things with you guys, and sitting here and thinking about the theories and the stuff that's going on. Like, I got some stuff to talk about. Like, I wanted to run some stuff by you guys. Now, recently, recently, the incidents in DC, right? Why it got federal, like why was it federalized or federal takeover? Well, if you've been listening to both sides of the outlets, they've been saying, one side said that DC is a cesspool, which it is. Other side, DC's crime is actually dropped at like 30%. It's its lowest it's ever been, allegedly. Okay. Now, I'm not saying they're lying, because the figures and the stats are out there. Okay. Means absolutely nothing. What I think is curious about this, right, is the people that it happened to, like the events that had actually transpired. Now, DC is just, if you want a friend or you want some companionship, you should find a dog, not a friend in DC, not a human. There's no such thing. And with him taking over DC to clean it up, I always ask the question, what happened to the District of Columbia on the maps? Like, what happened to the Gulf of America or the Gulf of Mexico on the map? When he said it's going to be called the Gulf of America, and it became the Gulf of America due to executive order, right or wrong. Now it's the Gulf of America. Okay, well, Washington, D.C., the District of Columbia has been removed from the map. What does that mean, Marcus? I'm not entirely sure. But what I do know is that a federal takeover of a corporation, you guys are looking at this like a constitution. And I think that might be what the problem is. I think sometimes we would maybe benefit to look at this as a corporation and a business. If, let's say it's a hostile takeover, let's just say there's a merger, or let's say, how do I want to word this? Let me think. When a business is going out of the market or going out of business, basically, typically someone ends up buying them. Big corporation comes down, buys little corporation, right? Big corporation comes inside and is like, hey, we're gonna restructure some things in here, all right? All right, we're gonna go here, we're gonna restructure this, we're gonna restructure this, hostile takeover, we're gonna get rid of that, let's cut that, cut the fat, all right? We're gonna make it slim, optimal, faster, and probably more deadlier, because that's their thing, right? Now, think about America as a corporation and look at what Trump has come in and done. Trump typically is the person, he comes in, he wreaks havoc, he makes moves, he's gonna make his moves. I have to give him his credit. He makes things happen. He gets his executive order signed, he presses people to do things, but that's business. He's just a different kind of businessman. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But like, the problem is that we know that no one since Kennedy has actually been in control of anything that has worked in our favor. Minus tax law, if you know how to use tax law. Okay? So, to see Trump come into a corporation that is America, dismantle it, break it down, get rid of the Department of Education, break down USAID, basically fire everybody in the CDC, get rid of mRNA allegedly, get rid of the red dye, get rid of a lot of things. Okay, yes, there are things that are happening that are working, that are going in our favor. Now, I always ask you the question, do you believe it? Only time can tell, because time is a measure. It's a measurement. So right now we can't. It seems all good and hunky dory, and yeah, America, 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 America. And I always understand that. But in my time, in the 2.5 years of really having to pay attention to this and read and research and understand and really look back, that's not how this is about to play out. And we're in the last phase of pretty much everything that we've been reading about. Agenda 21, that's already come to pass. Project 2025 is just a spinoff of Agenda 21, but no one wants to say that out loud. And Project 30, we're in the last phase of that for the Great Reset, quote unquote. So, guys, notice how everything after 2030 seems a little bit UBI, Universal Basic Income like? You notice that a lot of their markings and charts kind of don't go any further than 2030. You guys, there's little details to pay attention to on the financial markets, along with crypto, the NASDAQ, and all this. A lot of their projections after 2030 financially don't look as great. And a lot of people are like, what do you mean? Yes, we are on an uptick right now. But I think we all know better. If the system's inflated, the numbers are wrong, the books are cooked, they're stealing, they're printing out money, and they own everything. Nothing happens by chance. So either this is a dismantling of an old system and the building of a new system, or just maybe this gentleman is ushering us into something we're not really too entirely sure of. But the narratives are telling us where it's going. Do you believe me? Don't really care. Because there's a huge chance that come November and all these little alien narratives that Bluebeam's going to show its face eventually. Will it happen? Don't know. I got a good idea that they're on pace for it. Just remember that. This isn't the fearmonger. This isn't to do any of that. I'm just saying, while I'm up here talking to you about current events, understand the narratives are already in place. You're hearing stupid ass stories come out right now that don't make sense, especially about aliens. Whether you believe me or not, it's entirely on you, but eventually this whole format of me talking about Trump and all that, it's gonna stop. I personally don't care. I see it for what it is. I don't see a point in getting up here and arguing with thousands of people that see my content and actually care. To keep doing this, I don't care. I already see what's happening. It's on y'all. And not the ones who see it, but for the ones who are like, well, it's stupid. Okay, fine. It could be stupid. Doesn't make it less true. There's a lot of conversations happening and sinning about interdimensional beings. You're getting narratives pushed about aliens being black, white, mulatto. You're hearing a whole lot about DARPA and frequency. And look, man, I ain't here to argue with nobody no more. I want to do documentaries and stuff that's meaningful to the community. I don't want to sit up here and rant with y'all. I'm good on that. Y'all can have that. Like, I enjoy doing this. Like, this is cool. Like, set up, hanging out, real media vibe, right? Guys are feeling it. But, no, I absolutely do not care to sit here and go back and forth. You ever notice that a lot of these people are at the same parties? These podcasters and these people you listen to, there's some good, honest people out there trying to put out real good information for y'all. Better than me. There's people out here way better than me making making good content who care about the community. And then there are people who are just in it to make money, and then there are the controlled oppositions. That's really what this is. It's not anything grand. Everyone can aid in the fight. If you go on Facebook and you know you really care about the community, you're aiding in the fight. That's how we all see it now. That's how I see it. There are people just making money in the fight, and that's cool. I ain't mad at that. Make your money. Hey, get your money. This is a capitalism, baby. I get it. Free market, as they call it. Do what you got to do. But in the same breath and in the same context, there are people harming this community too, as far as the content information they're putting out, and a lot of y'all ain't seeing it. And I can see it, I can hear it, and you can see it in some of the things that they're allowed to talk about, and some of the things I'm not allowed to talk about, which is the same thing that they're allowed to. So always know that everybody that you're watching ain't on your side. They really ain't part of the community. And there are good people out there making good, honest, hard research content. And I love that. And that's where I want to be. I want to be on the side when we look back 10, 15 years from now. I want you guys to look back at TDRH Media put out good, hard research content. I don't care if you call it factual. I don't care if you call me crazy. I don't care if you call me a liar. But when you look back, you're going to be like, that shit was those are facts. Factual. Whether you believe it or not, it's on you. It does not make it less factual. It just means you don't believe it. It's not my fault. Not shit I can do about that. But what I can do is remember how I left my footprint in this game of podcasting, because I decided to put myself out there. Because I decided that, hey, I'm going to get out here and I want to talk about these things. I want to be the one who holds the torch for the next 30 years of shit that people say never happened. And they come back and be like, he tried to tell you. I'm fine with that. I have no problem with that. And in the event that shit hits the fan and we're here covering it as it happens, I'll be here. And then if I got to go underground with a radio and be the crazy dude on the radio, that might just be me. Hey, you find your way to survive all of this. Adapt and survive. We're humans. But I care about what I leave behind me, and how I do TDRH Media, and how I push the Daily Rabbit Hole and the documentaries that I do. I want them to be, as they call, evergreen. I want 10 years from now, I want you to be able to go back and listen to my stuff and be like, man, this guy's grown a lot or whatever. I remember him when he was upstairs at his mom's house. I'm not in the basement. All right? I'm not in the basement of my mom's house. Ha. Jokes. Look, man. I'm not quitting. Like I said, I'm not going to get rid of the Daily Rabbit Hole. I am going to fine tune the rabbit hole, and I don't care if anyone likes it or dislikes it. I just appreciate that I'm trying to grow with you. Best way to go, right? TDRH Media, people. The Daily Rabbit Hole, guys. Rabbit Hole Reports. However I get this stuff layered, that's what it's going to be. But I'm waiting on Trump to come out right now, and looking at footage from D.C. on my other screen over here, and I don't really foresee anything happening in the next month. I could be wrong, but I don't really foresee anything. I really don't think something's going to happen. But what I am going to do is I'm going to take me a quick break, because sitting here, very tiresome, and my back hurts a little bit. Okay, and before I go, I'm going to take a break. I'm coming back. But before I go, listen. Also, sitting here doing this, I have to make sure that I take care of myself doing this, because I do have stupid rare condition. Really rare. All right? So a lot of times, if I'm going to sit here and do this media coverage, you guys got to allow me to move around, take breaks. Like, sometimes I'm going to pre-record, sometimes I'm going to be live. You'll realize when I'm live, because I'm going to get up and be like, I'll be back. All right, so this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna give you some coverage. Here you go. Boom.
After mayor and administration after administration and city council after city council and speaker after speaker and city planning director after city planning director could not move those things. We're building entire neighborhoods and lifting these neighborhoods up all around the city of New York. This is yet another historic opportunity to turn the tide, to shift, to do the right thing for the future of New York City. So to all of the people behind me, I want to say thank you, and I love Midtown Maine. Remember that branding. Put it out on social media. Let's make this thing go viral, because there is a future for the garment industry in the city of New York, in the old garment neighborhood, in the old garment district. We have to keep that flame burning as we build close to 10,000 units of housing. And get this, one-third of those units will be 100% permanently affordable housing for working families and low-income New Yorkers. That's good work. So, just as the other speakers, I want to give special thanks to Councilmember Powers, Councilmember Bottcher, to Director Gorodnick, and to all the teams for their hard work on this important and historic neighborhood plan. I want to pause for a moment to call out the team at City Hall and all the people who have spent months and thousands of hours to get this across the finish line to a yes vote by the New York City Council. Thank you, Layla Bozorg. Thank you, Aaron Charlotte Powers. Thank you to all of the team, all the members of the team that have worked on this. I also want to extend my personal thanks, being a former member of the New York City Council, to the Speaker of the City Council, Adrian Adams, without whose leadership this would not be possible today. Council member, also known as the Chairman, Rafael Salamanca, and Council member Kevin Riley, whose committee it went through, and my dear friend, who it appears will be the next Comptroller of the City of New York, El Presidente, Borough President Mark Levine. Thank you for your leadership and for always being a champion for housing. I'm going to take the privilege of the microphone and the fact that I have it, and just give a few other special thank yous. I want to give a special thanks and recognition to Barbara Blair, the president of the Garment District Alliance. Barbara, thank you for being a longtime advocate for the betterment of Midtown South. And there's another young lady, Mi Jong Lee. Mi Jong Lee has been a fashion designer and a manufacturer for over 40 years in the heart of the garment district. Mi Jong runs a company called Amel Design. She and her team are responsible for printing these amazing t-shirts, Midtown Made. Way to go. Thank you, Mi Jong. Just a couple of weeks ago, we had Housing Week in New York City, a week that broadcasted the incredible achievements of the Adams administration to produce more housing for New Yorkers. 3,000 homes at the Flatbush Airport site, new housing on Coney Island, intergenerational senior housing out there, and financing a record-breaking 28,000 homes just in fiscal year 25 alone. In total, we have laid the groundwork for over 426,800 homes across the entirety of New York City. And let me just emphasize this so you can remember it. In just 3.5 years, under Mayor Adams' leadership, working in partnership with this city council, we hold each of the top 3 years for nearly every category of housing production in New York City history. Affordable rental units, units for formerly homeless households, new construction units, supportive housing units. And we're not just financing future housing, we're getting people into homes today, holding the top 3 years for connecting more New Yorkers to affordable homes and placing homeless individuals into permanent affordable housing. If there were gold, silver, and bronze medals for housing production, this administration would sweep the podium. Again, this work is very intentional, and it has to be done in partnership with the New York City Council. By investing billions in capital dollars, cutting bureaucratic red tape, advocating for state legislation, securing zoning changes, using city-owned land, and advancing neighborhood plans like this one across the city, we're leaving no stone unturned. We started with as the chair suggested, our Metro North Bronx Metro North Station Area Plan, passed by the council to create nearly 7,000 homes, including 1,700 permanently income-restricted affordable housing units and 10.
All right, enough of that. All right, I'm back. While I'm back, feel free to follow the Daily Rabbit Hole, or now known as TDRH Media, on all platforms. I go by TDRH Media Cov on Twitter. It's up there at the top of above my head, you can see. Feel free to follow me, donate, go to the website, thedailyrabbithole.org. I appreciate you so much. Thank you. I'm back. We are still waiting on Trump to come in and talk. Again, these are things that I don't mind covering. Conversations, dialogue, not the bald head dude. I ain't talking about him. Talking about what's going on in D.C. and then Trump getting ready to give remarks. Because, he just had this meeting I feel like he has a meeting with Putin, or he just had one with Putin. I feel like he has to go to Alaska. I think that's tomorrow, possibly. All right, so understand that there's a lot going on. What does that matter? Why is he talking to Putin? Well, they're trying to basically strike a deal to stop the Ukraine war, or basically divide the land equally, because Ukraine's over. I don't know why anyone think Ukraine is winning this conflict or actually putting up a fight. They're not. Ukraine is getting the shit kicked out of them right now. All right? So with this being said, this is why Zelensky is still begging for money, and I guarantee, pay attention to the UN General Assembly coming up next month. I am covering the UN General Assembly. I am going to cover that. That's going to be an all-day event. We're going to be here for it. Just prepare yourselves, okay? This is like a 3-day event. I am going to cover it. All right? So just go ahead and wrap your head around that I am going to cover the UN General Assembly. I've done it before on Facebook numerous times. This is nothing new. Nobody should be shocked, okay? Why am I covering that? Because the UN General Assembly, I want you to understand, you think that they're talking to the constituents inside the building. They're not. They're actually talking to the overlords. It's a weird dynamic. It's double speak, double spoke, whatever, right? They're technically talking to the world. Technically, yes. Some people really are talking for their countries, and some people are actually talking to the people above them. Kind of like when you're electing a president, they're not really talking to the crowd. They're actually talking to the people that's funding them and donating money to them. Kind of like that. So understand that when they have those conversations on a world level, it's good to listen. I always enjoy a good listening. So Me personally, I don't mind listening to like the boring shit. As most people say, the news is the fast stuff. That's the I'll just go listen to the whole UN General Assembly and call it a day. They figure out where they're going with it and just follow the media. Just follow the clues. Follow the nuggets of information they keep putting out. Look at what's being passed. Look at the things happening in your community or wherever you live at. Look at the things happening on the internet. It's not hard to tell. Not at all. It's pretty apparent. So, all I'm saying is this: TDRH Media is here to cover the dark topics, conspiracies, stuff you didn't realize was actually happening. So, I'm not here to cover the press, propaganda. Like, I don't mind covering a psyop. Yeah, I covered the No Kings protest. People were weirded out by that one too. They were like, "Oh my God, why would you cover the No Kings protest?" I was like, because I've never been part of an actual psyop in person, like knowingly part of it. Like I went to go look at it. I wanted to see a psyop in person. That's what the No Kings protest was. That was a mass protest. That is social engineering or psychological operation, however you want to word that. What I'm telling you is that I wanted to go see it, take pictures, boots on ground, get a feel. Why? Because none of those people who were at that protest are from Mobile. Not all of them. It's a fair amount of them that weren't from Mobile. And yeah, they were bussed in too. So if this is true here, that they were being bussed into Mobile, Alabama for a protest, I'm pretty sure they're being bussed in everywhere else. So when you ask, hey, Marcus, why would you go take pictures and be a part of the liberal agenda? Same reason I take part in the right agenda, in the conservative agenda, the right agenda. Same reason. I want to see it in person. You think I'm not going to use my press pass to go to a Republican convention if Trump is there? Absolutely. Boots on ground. I want to go see it in person. Let's see what happens. Let's see if you guys really are this weird and no one's paying attention. It's just the kind of person I am. So, yeah, as media, I would like to do something that's meaningful. I don't want to sit up here and talk crazy for 2 hours. Plus, I don't have the production and I don't have the team for all of that to keep sitting here daily doing shows. Absolutely not. But there's some wiggle room. I like to admit that. There's some good wiggle room. Let's see. That's that. Let's just close that. All right. There we go. Sorry. Had a window. I had to close a window. Kind of slowing my stuff down. But again, we're here. We're waiting on Trump to show up. Just want to hear what he's talking about. Good for views. It's media. Anywho, new background, design. Why I'm still here? Because I figured if I create something and make it look better, I might stay. That's how I operate. I gotta make it worthwhile. So, new background, new green screen. Used all the green screen and looks great. Looks good. It works. Got a nice little vibe. Can sit here and do my public access TV. All right, we're gonna do deep dives like this. This is my deep dive right here, and I might put the fireplace in the corner of the screen, which I probably am gonna do that. I tried it out. I'm gonna put a fireplace at the bottom of the screen right here, and we're gonna get into it like real literature and understanding of operations and events that's transpired in America over the last 100 years. I keep it within 100. Honestly, if I only did the last 40, that would still lead for at least another 2 years of shows, but let's keep it interesting. Let's bounce around the last 100 years in America. And we'll cover topics and different events, psyops, groups, because there's agencies I didn't know about. I just found out who the Pinkertons were. I heard that name in like one of the old westerns back in the day, like the Pinkertons, but you never really think that's a real family. Oh, behold, it is a real family. And now they've piqued my interest, and I kind of want to look into them too. So spend more time researching, less time making content, but more time making real content. Like I got a lot of clipped up stuff from back when I was doing shows. We're gonna throw that stuff out there, and then we'll go on from there with all the other good stuff that I'm doing. But I'm not gonna just sit here and stream, clip, clip, clip. Nah, burn out, and it's kind of boring. That's for like clipping is for like people who already have like so many, and you want to make that good money, make so much money. I get demonetized a lot, so clipping it works well for like views and getting it out, but I feel like you guys missed the message. I'd rather do documentaries. Comes off better. Let's see. Let's check the press. Look around. Got a guy online right now. I would think by now Live Now would have switched over, but they're just bouncing all over the place. Like events like this, like, yes, these people are actually here talking and, really trying to get their point across, but I assure you they got paid. Everyone get in the camera, hold your signs. These people probably have been affected in some way, but remember that someone has to fund these campaigns. Nobody's out here just campaigning for free. That's not how that works in America. That's why they have the casting, the central casting and shit. You got to have people come out. A lot of times you can hire companies and they'll bring people and they'll create events for you, or create crowds, or create demonstrations. That conversation came out about 2 weeks ago. They were talking about how there's a certain company that brings in protesters to demonstrate peacefully, allegedly. Came out in LA that they were over there orchestrating the riots, but they denied it too. That's just one of those things. I'm not saying they did it. I'm saying, there it is. I'm saying it's a possibility. Nonetheless, keep your head on a swivel. Don't believe everything you see when you go out there. Let's see. Yep, I'm on my phone while I'm on the show. I do not. Yeah, we're still waiting. Oh, looks like he should be popping up soon. I'm over here looking on my other channels and stuff. But yeah, more relaxed feel. Now, when I get into these deep dives, yes, but when we're covering media commentary, I don't care. I know it's petty. I just wonder, like, let's pick a subject right now. I just wonder, like, the next 2 years, 2025. At this point, we're going to get a couple decent arrests. We're not going to get what we want. But we're all under the idea that Trump is either going to A, usher in the greatest times in American history, or B, the worst times in American history. Either way, I'm going to be live for it. What I'm saying is, you guys are going to have to swallow this pill. We all are to some extent, because I didn't vote for him. I'm not going to lie to you. So I don't have to feel like I'm a part of this. Like I'm stuck in it because This is just the way the system is. This is the matrix, the simulation, whatever you want to call it. But you don't have to play along in it. And that's my big thing. I think that's why I do this. This is me not playing along, if that makes sense. Like, if you guys ever had something to stand for, like, if you just knew the truth about something, would you not try to say something like human trafficking is a real thing? All right? You know drug trafficking is a real thing. You know, a lot of things are real things. And, no one's perfect, but there's a lot of things going on in America with our elected officials and the people itself in America with redistricting and gentrification and shit, man. White people think they're being wiped out for some reason. Whatever reason they believe. I mean, hell, black people believe the same thing too. If you listen to brown people, they believe that too. So to some extent, we're all sharing the same ideas. It's just for some reason we're just all eerily divided on everything. So I can't really understand that one completely, other than to tell you that you guys all agree on the same thing. Just stop bitching about it. But when it comes to, like, the grand scheme of us as Americans standing up for ourselves and being the ones to say, hey, no, we're not going to allow this anymore. It's been a while. Probably since the civil rights era, and most of that was half and half psyop, half real. So there's only a few more options here, people. Only a few more options on how this is gonna go and how we can get out of it. There's still enough time to reject it. Like I say, man, this is my way of doing this. All right. When people say, "What are you doing for the cause?" I put myself out there and make content. I talk about it. What do you want me to tell you? I'm just a guy with equipment, streaming, enjoying myself, putting out information that I think is needed and, needs to be out there. I cover things that I think are cool. I cover subjects that most people don't want to talk about. At one point they just called that history and politics. Now they call it conspiracy. Riddle me that one. Like, see how these guys sitting out here just waiting on their phones? Look at me. Sitting here waiting on my phone. Because this is what media is. Like, when you're actually covering real media, you're just sitting here. It's a whole lot of waiting. You get to places and you wait. Like, I've been doing this in my city the last month, covering different, like, events and town halls and stuff. Like, I show up to places, camera, press pass, take pictures, talk to people. I ran into the mayor of well, not the mayor, but one of the mayor electorals. He's running for mayor. And then I met with the other campaign. Put my card out. Hopefully, shows up, get paid to take pictures or something. Hey, guys got to eat, guys. So take pictures, show up, get some free press in, go from there. But for the most part, man, media is boring. That's why I want to make documentaries. To be media all day is just to sit here and be on camera and make content. I don't want to do that all damn day. At all. I've said that numerous times a day. So I'd rather much so just sit here, hang out, shoot the shit. Because I didn't plan going live today, but I was like, you know what? We're just going to show up and we're going to do our thing and we're going to go from there. We're going to let it happen. I have to go live more on Facebook, so Facebook doesn't pick me up like it used to. And that's okay. Not really mad. I'm enjoying myself. I'm on Rumble today mainly. I'm unlisted on YouTube because I just use YouTube as my backup stream now. So if you're on YouTube and you're wondering, you saw me on Facebook, it's like, let me go check them out on YouTube. It'll be up there after I'm done. I just learned that YouTube likes to pull the cord a lot, and I don't have time for that. So this is why now I sit here and, YouTube's unlisted. Rumble's my main feed. And I just wanted to get on Facebook to play with the algorithm. Show up and show you guys my face. I'm still here. I ain't doing nothing weird. I ain't doing no rituals or nothing like that. And they're probably like, of course, he's trying to tell us. No, I'm not. I'm just sitting here trying to get my life together, guys. I am a normal person. Get my life together, figure out which way I want to go post-coaching career. You know what I'm saying? A lot of hard truths were being made, not coaching. So with so much time on my hands, you know, I do side jobs, event photography, side gigs, show up to events, pass out cards, build websites. I do graphics. I make ebooks, as you guys have seen, e-courses. I do a lot of different things, man. So, you know, hey, if this is my thumb to the system, thumb to the nose, right? Nah, kind of and kind of not. Just unfortunate situation, got a rare condition, end up, you know, taking my coaching career, and here I am. So I got a lot of time. I make the use of it. I use the avenues that I have, make things shake, right? This is America, guys. No one's coming to save you, and I live by that, so I have to make things happen for myself. Like, I can't really rely on a lot of normal outlets right now. So until I find something consistent, I take the side gigs, I do graphics, holla at your boy, dirtyrabbitdigital.com. That's the website. You'll see more of that as I get more advertising. I'm going to start doing some little advertisements for myself, but that's for my brand. So, you know, don't be like, oh, he's trying to sell out. No. Got a family to feed, guys. Got a family to feed. All right. We got the Trump Poot Summit coming up. Live coverage tomorrow at 5 a.m. That's 4 a.m. my time in the morning. Am I going to wake up for that? Absolutely not. You were out of your mind if you think I'm waking up that early to cover that. I'm not. We're gonna do some coverage on it. I'll do some detail and talk about it in a 1 minute to 2 minute video. We're gonna move on from there. Not sitting on it. Not doing that. So just know I ain't waking up to do that Trump coverage and Putin thing. Nope. We gonna get it when he wants to make himself known. Now this Texas Democrat thing, right? Now also, you know, there's that story of the Texas Democrats that fled to Chicago, and then they had the arrest warrant. Wild times we're in, right? Kind of seems like there's a major split happening in Congress and Senate. Like everyone's been telling you that was coming, and it's been there for some time, but don't let it get to you. Don't let it get you too far into a rabbit hole, guys. I assure you, when shit goes left, there's some of them going to disappear. Guarantee it. Yeah. A lot of this isn't that, man. And then there's the one off that it could be true. Tell you, man, if I'm president, I walk out. I'm walking out anytime I want to. Also, you ain't finna tell me to show up at 12 o'clock. We're gonna be 30 minutes late. Every president is late to their own press conference. You ready, Mr. President? We out here waiting. Got me waiting. Trying to get comfortable in my chair. This is what it's like in real life too. I want you to know, when I go to these town hall meetings, it's the same way when like the congressmen come down and like, you know, the lieutenant governors come to visit. They're the exact same way. They're late too. Like they show up about 10, 15 minutes late. They're not presidential late. They're like lieutenant governor late. 15 minutes. You know what I'm saying? They come up, take pictures. Everyone be seated. Talk for about 10, whether they're reading from their prompter or they have their note cards. Very scripted, but most of the time, those people, those little town halls, there's more talking. You more or less just taking pictures as it's going on. It's not a whole lot of heavy press other than local media. So this is just my experience covering these kind of events. Again, like I've told you, I'm really out here. Like I'm not like fabricated events out here. I'm like out here watching the fabricated event in live time. Like I'm not part of the podcast team and shit. Like I'm my own entity out here. Like press pass, broadcasting credits. Been racking up credits, guys. Been racking up a whole lot of different things. So again, this is why I wanted to talk to you guys today and talk about this. Why am I changing? Because things are changing. I'm getting broadcast credits. I'm getting event credits. I'm getting photography credits now. So why not grow it, right? So this is the idea of why the big change happened. All right, we just want to bring that in there. If you had just showed up, this is why everything looks a little bit cleaner. All right, because we have broadcasting credits, and I wanted it to look like something. I just don't want to be a random content creator, which I kind of am anyway. But you know what I'm saying. I want to make meaningful content. I want to talk about the things that matter, like do documentaries, human trafficking, drug trafficking, cartel movement. You know what I'm saying? Military, not military operations, but operations inside of America that were military that you don't know about. Events in history that have been erased and we're trying to bring to the light. They don't always have to be conspiracies. Just pieces of history that went missing. It's not a conspiracy. It just didn't get put in history because they didn't want you to know. Doesn't make it a conspiracy. Absolutely not. So that's what I want to get back to. That's what I really care about doing. The streaming thing, like I said, once a week, maybe twice. Then they won't be sitting here looking at, live feeds and waiting on different things to transpire. It'll be different scenes. We'll have, live feeds of a little bit of everything. The whole National Guard in DC, if there is something going on, I assure you they're not going to show it on TV. At least not the part that they want you to see. So there's that. I do think that we're in a very peculiar situation if, because inside of that executive order, he did allow the other states to do the same thing, to follow suit if need be. To capture the capital means something. I'm not entirely sure what. Still learning that one, but I do know when you capture key places like the capital, D.C. or Birmingham, Montgomery, Atlanta, Phoenix, Atlanta, you start capturing cities or you federalize cities. It I don't know if I'm saying this correctly, but it could make sweeping federal reform, I suppose, or it can cause conflict because technically the governors run the state, but for them to federalize the capital of their state would almost be, I'm not saying an act of war or a declaration of war, but it would be one of the first steps in saying that um, we've taken control of our state, if that makes sense. So like what Trump has done in DC is basically taking control of the federal district of America, all right? Which governs all of America, right? This is where our policy and all legislation, our Congress, our House, all this Senate, so all this comes from. Then the states follow suit on a state level compared to the federal level. Now, on the state level, if the states wish to federalize their capital, they can. They would have to activate the guard. And then if they activate the guard, they have to activate the militia. They don't have to, but that's usually the next step when you federalize your capital. That's why the police in DC are being used as the next level below the military and below the police it's going to end up being, guess who? The militia. All right, we got Trump popping up. I'm going to go ahead and get out of the way. Here you go.
Thank you very much for being with us. It's a good time for this country. We have the hottest country anywhere in the world. I think you're hearing it from a lot of people, not just from me. We're doing very well in so many ways. And the gentleman on my right, we recruited him. We tried to get the best person. We got a man that you'll hear in a second has done an amazing job with respect to Social Security. He's running it, and he's running it like nobody ever even dreamt possible. And it's the 90th anniversary right now of Social Security. So today we celebrate that 90th anniversary of one of the most significant pieces of legislation ever signed into law, the Social Security Act of 1935, and we're going to make it stronger, bigger, and better. Really doing a job. In the campaign, I made a sacred pledge to our seniors that I would always protect Social Security, and under this administration, we're keeping that promise and strengthening Social Security for generations to come. You keep hearing stories that in 6 years, 7 years, Social Security will be gone, and it will be if the Democrats ever get involved because they don't know what they're doing. But it's going to be around a long time with us. Very much, you'll be surprised to hear some of the numbers. I'm delighted to be joined by the Commissioner of the Social Security Administration, Frank Bisignano. Oh, in the world of business, in fact, I wrote some of the little things down that he's had an amazing, he was Chief Operating Officer of J.P. Morgan Chase. He worked for Jamie Dimon, and Jamie Dimon said that he was amazing. So think of that, Chief Operating Officer, J.P. Morgan Chase, had a storied career. Then he went to First Data. For those in the business, you'd know it's the largest payment company anywhere in the world. And worked for Henry Kravis, and it was in big trouble. He took it over as CEO. He made it incredible. They merged with Fiserv, and he became CEO of that, and that became extremely successful. I was in Milwaukee. I guess they have the Milwaukee Arena, and where we had some good success and some good speeches. But he's a really legendary guy, and he wanted to do this. I mean, he just wanted to straighten out Social Security because he loves our country. And what he's done in a few months is amazing. Almost 60 million American seniors rely on Social Security for peace of mind and a life of dignity and retirement. These Americans paid into the system, and they deserve leaders in Washington who are going to protect the benefits they've had and protect Social Security. Under Biden, Social Security went down like nobody's ever seen it, deteriorated. There's never been anything like it. The 4 years of Biden were very, very destructive. It couldn't have gone on much longer. Social Security was going to be destroyed. It was being destroyed. The average call wait time reached an all-time high of more than 42 minutes. Field office wait times were at 32 minutes, which is unheard of, and the disability claims backlog was the longest ever in recorded history. In other words, it was run just like the country was run. It was run really badly. But I'm pleased to report that under our leadership, and Frank in particular, the changes he's made and what he's done is sort of a miracle. Sort of like what happened with the country as a whole. Field office wait times are now down 30% since last year, and it looks like it's going to a total record number. And the record was set in a long time ago when the world was a lot different place, and we're gonna beat that record. Call wait times are down 73% while serving twice as many customers per day. The disability claims backlog is down 26%, and seniors now have 24/7 online access to their accounts, which they never had before, whereas under Biden, the website was down 29 hours a week for maintenance purposes. It was essentially not open very much. They were always maintaining it, but they didn't know what the hell they were doing. They had a person running that had no idea what they were doing. Among my very first acts was to order all government employees to return to the office or be removed from the job, which means our Social Security offices are now open for full business hours 5 days a week. So unlike being shut down all the time, we're open at record levels also. We're making it really great for the people that want and demand Social Security, and they paid into the system. They deserve it. Last month, I signed one big, beautiful bill and allowed no tax on Social Security for our great seniors, okay? So how's that? Not bad, right? No tax on Social Security for our seniors. And to protect our benefits, we've already kicked nearly 275,000 illegal aliens off of the Social Security system. These are people, many of them have already left the country, and yet we were sending them checks all the time. And 275,000, and that number is now even larger than that, Frank. It's an unbelievable job. And what that's doing is making the system strong. It's making it strong. Biden never kicked anybody off. Everybody joined. And we're carrying out historic deportations to remove many more illegals committing Social Security fraud. It's the Social Security fraud that was taking place at levels that nobody's ever seen. We cleared 12.4 million names listed in the Social Security database over 120 years of age. Think of that. So we had 12.4 million names where they were over 120 years old. Is that right? That's a hell of a statement. I have a feeling, Dan, that's not really gonna, that really didn't happen, did it? So you have 12.4 million names listed in the Social Security database that were over 120 years of age, meaning you were breaking records, because I've never heard of anybody at 125. There were nearly 135,000 people listed who were over 160 years old, and in some cases getting payments. So somebody's getting those payments, and we're after that. We're also fighting the menace of inflation to make life more affordable for American seniors, and we've ended Biden's inflation nightmare. So we had the worst inflation in the history of our country, and now our inflation is down to a perfect number, a beautiful number, hardly any at all. And yet our country's taking in tens of billions of dollars and trillions of dollars, actually trillions of dollars in tariffs. And you know all about it. It's been amazing. They say, why are we taking in so much money? Last week they found $29 billion and they couldn't figure out where it came from. I said, check the tariff shelf. And they said, how did you know that's where it came from? We're taking in billions and even trillions of dollars in tariffs, paid by other countries who, frankly, were taking advantage of us for many, many years. And they were doing that to us, but our people didn't know it. We didn't have smart business people. We've ended Biden's inflation nightmare and came in below expectations, and yet, again, this past month, we set records. Gasoline prices are way down, and really dramatically, as everybody knows, and energy prices have been going down, other than in certain states where you have Democrat-run states where they put windmills all over the place. Anytime you see a windmill, you'll say, well, they have bad energy costs, and it's happening in New Jersey. I saw that there's a revolution going on in New Jersey. They closed up a nuclear power plant, and they're raising electricity rates by 21, 22, and 28%, something like that. And you're going to have a new governor in New Jersey. I tell you what, you have a good man running in the Republican Party. He'll get him down. But what they've done is they've killed so many good sources of energy for very expensive windmills and lots of other things that don't work. 401ks and retirement accounts are soaring, and the stock market is setting record highs. Almost every day we're going record highs, and yet we're taking in hundreds of billions of dollars in tariffs. So it's turned out that Trump was right and they were wrong. A few smart people knew what was going to happen. A few of us were right. So we're going to keep the fighting going. We're going to make America's seniors every single day. We're going to fight for them. We're going to make them richer, better, stronger in so many different ways. But Social Security is like pretty much the one that we think about, and we love it, and we love what's happening with it. And it's going to be good for 90 years and beyond. Again, you were given only a short period of time. Social Security was supposed to be like down. Had they won the election, Social Security would have defaulted during Biden or Kamala's election, whoever they so chose. Two beauties. And now what I'd like to do is ask Frank to say a few words. Again, this is a man with a really storied past. He's one of the most successful anywhere in the world. What he did at J.P. Morgan Chase and what he did for Henry Kravis and all of the others are like legendary stories. And he just wanted to do this. He's making about a tiny fraction, I would say, a tiny fraction of what you used to make. But he didn't care. He wanted to do it. He made a lot of money. And he said, I want to run that system. I want to put it back on track. And he's got an unbelievable talent over there. It's like a different place. So, Frank, would you say a few words, please?
Sure.
Thank you.
There's less than 1% tiny fraction, sir.
Is that what it is, less than one? That's a tiny
That's
fraction.
an honor.
He's
It's an
making
honor. It is an honor. And I'd like to start off by thanking the president for his tireless effort in running the country and what he's done across the country, meeting every commitment. And, you know, I see it directly in the big, beautiful bill, the opportunity that it's brought to seniors. But his effort on every commitment, delivering against it, and delivering on world peace tirelessly. I'd like to also thank him for my opportunity. You know, he's teasing me, I'm teasing him about the economics of the job. But the reality is to serve 300 million Americans, which is what Social Security serves, is a tremendous honor. And him putting that faith in me and building what I believe, and I think I have a right to say it, is the best leadership team ever assembled in the White House and in the cabinet. So that's my great honor. So I come here and get the opportunity to serve the American public in a manner that I never imagined in my life. And what we found was the opportunity to fix a foundation. The reality is, people talk about 72 beneficiaries. I talk about over 300 million Americans with a Social Security number that we must protect through the system. And when you look at what we talk about in eliminating Social Security numbers that were live in the system, they could carry fraud through the whole system. So the first thing was root out fraud, waste, and abuse. But while doing it, the best way to be more efficient is provide more accurate payments and better service. And you heard the numbers. I think the most staggering number is that we had a website that was down 29 hours. This will be a digital-first agency, and we are building my SSA accounts. That's the digital account. And we have a bold goal of 200 million Americans to have a digital SSA account by the end of next year. It will happen. Just like we had a bold goal of single-digit wait time on the calls when they were at 40 minutes. And we did that. This is my 100th day. We did that within 90 days, right? Get the web up and running, bring technology to our field offices, use digital presence to answer and serve the American public. That's the job. When we do all that, then we'll really know the answer to if we have a hole. Right? I was presented in my second week on the job with $18 billion in errors by the Inspector General. It was public. In less than a month, we solved $9 billion of it. So that's the type of swift action we can take, right? You see the things like the big, beautiful bill for the seniors. You see better digital services. You see field office wait times down. If you make an appointment to have a field office visit, it now happens in 6 minutes. Unprecedented. We are serving more people and delivering more than was ever delivered before in a manner with the highest possible quality, and we've just begun. You should expect this to be a great digital-first agency. My commitment to make this happen is as deep as the president's commitment to make the world a great place. And you see the fabulous job happening here across America and what he's doing in the world. You should expect Social Security, just like the president. I thank him for making America great again. It's happening. Social Security will be great again. You have my commitment. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, Frank. I'm going to sign the new proclamation, please.
Sir, this is a proclamation both commemorating the 90th anniversary of the Social Security Act, the signing of the Social Security Act, and also the incredible accomplishments of your administration fixing and promoting and safeguarding Social Security. And it also obviously mentions the fact that as part of the One Big Beautiful Bill, a vast majority of our senior citizens are no longer paying taxes on their Social Security benefits, as you promised in your campaign and as you delivered for the American people.
That's a big factor, isn't it? Huh?
Yes, sir.
That's great. I think they're very happy about it, too. They're very happy about a lot of things. Good job, Frank.
Thank you, sir.
And Frank has brought with him some of the most talented people in business, and they were making a lot of money, but they made a lot of money. They had money they didn't have to make anymore, and they just want to do this. They want to have our country become strong and good, and that's what's happening. And we're doing that in a lot of locations, a lot of areas. You deal with some of the people that are commissioners, that are secretaries of state, of secretaries of treasury and of commerce, people that were really, really successful people, and they gave all that up to make a very small amount of money. They don't even consider it a fraction. You say 1%, less than 1%. That's pretty good. That's a big pay cut. But Frank is one of the most outstanding of all. His career has been incredible, and you just have to look at what happened at J.P. Morgan Chase and look at what happened with First Data. First Data was the biggest company of its kind in the world, but it was not going to make it. He went in, and it became a tremendous success, and merged into another company, and he became the head of that company. Then he said, let me go save Social Security, because as big as that stuff is, it's small potatoes compared in terms of numbers, right? In terms of numbers, these are big numbers. Government numbers are big numbers. So I want to thank everybody for being here, but I'm really proud of you, Frank. And here's your proclamation, and let's take a look at what that looks like. Signed by the human hand. For a change. That's good, right? Do you have any questions for Frank? How about a questions for Frank? For Frank?
Mr. President?
Yes, on Social Security.
Please.
First and foremost, this was a major campaign promise that you had. 2023, it was one of the first Agenda 47s that you put out. It was titled, We Must Protect Medicare and Social Security. Why was this important for both of you to get done, and given the fact that it'll impact millions of lives?
Well, it was very important to me because I knew how Social Security, I've been hearing about it for years, long before I came to office, that it was really going to die very shortly, and I had to put somebody outstanding in. And we were talking. I was talking to him on a business sense once, and I said, "This guy's amazing." And he said, "I'd love to help you with Social Security because it's sort of what he does. You know, he takes troubled entities and turns them around, and he did some of the biggest messes in the world, and Social Security in a certain way, I guess, you reported it all the time. In 4 or 5 years, it's going to go bust, but not anymore, it's not. And he's got it turned around so well. The proclamation helps. All of the things we've done help. And he's finding such tremendous fraud where we have illegal aliens. We have people that don't even exist on Social Security now. They don't exist. And what it does, it makes it totally secure and powerful for the people that are on it and need it. And we're very proud of the job he's done, one of the best.
Kara Castro from Lindell TV. How are you today, sir? Democrats like Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren continue to peddle the lie and the claim that you're trying to cut Social Security, despite your repeated promises to protect it. Why do you think they keep pushing this misinformation and literally terrorizing the elderly in America that sadly keep watching the very misleading mainstream media?
I love your question. I should have called you almost first, but I love his questions also, always. But it's such a good question. It's so vicious what they do. Elizabeth Warren said she was an Indian. We call her Pocahontas. She's a liar. She lied her whole career. Based on the fact that she was an Indian, she was able to get into certain colleges, get certain jobs, get into certain universities to work there. She's a liar and a mean person. She's a nut job. I watched her the other night. She's all hopped up endorsing a communist in New York City. And she was all excited and jumping up and down. She's got to take a drug test. She really does. She's got to take a drug test. There's no way somebody can act that way and be normal. What she's done to our financial institutions, she destroys people. Do you know that you had a lot of great banks in the Midwest and banks that loaned to farmers and others, and they went out of business? She put them out of business. Stone cold mean. Banks that were open 150 years, family banks that supplied the farmers and manufacturers and others, and she put them out of business. She's a mean, horrible human being. Bernie Sanders is Bernie Sanders. I don't mind him so much. He's just a liberal guy, very liberal guy. He's a wacky guy. He's still sharp. I got to tell you, you know, he's 86 or 87 or something. He's still sharp. You compare that to Joe Biden, it's, you know, sort of what happened. So I don't mind Bernie Sanders. With him, you know what you're getting. You're getting a guy, he's a nasty guy, but he's somebody that, I don't know if I call it a fastball, but he's able to throw the ball pretty well. He's okay. I watched him the other day. He was totally on the opposite side of things. I will say this, the biggest issue right now, and an issue that's really taken hold, is crime, stopping crime in the cities, and the Democrats are fighting the stopping of crime. So I think that's like men playing in women's sports is okay, or transgender for everybody okay, but this is a bigger issue. This is the biggest of all issues. Crime is rampant in D.C. It's rampant in our generally blue-run cities, and they've got to do something about it, or they're never going to win another election. And instead of calling me a dictator, they like to say Trump's a dictator. Trump's a dictator. Well, I had calls from many, many friends, including Democrats. I have a lot of Democrat friends, but they're normal people. And they were thanking me so much for what I'm doing in D.C. They feel so safe already. And, you know, at the border, we had 0 people come in, and this is done by a liberal group. They're the people that do it. I have nothing to do with it. 0 people in 3 months. We had 0, 0, and 0 for 3 months. And last year we had millions of people pouring in from all countries, from jails, from drug addicts, gang members, drug dealers by the thousands and thousands. 11,888 murderers, half of whom committed more than one murder. They flowed into our country, and for the last 3 months we had none. And I didn't get, remember when Joe Biden used to always go, I need legislation, I had no legislation. I just said we're closing the borders, and the whole world understood it because they respect your country again. They really respect this country again. They didn't respect it. When he said it, it didn't mean anything. But now they know it meant a lot. And Mexico does what we tell them to do, and Canada does what we tell them to do, because we have the 2 borders. We have the northern border, the southern border, and they were both horrible. But now it's some people say it's a miracle. Well, what Frank has done with Social Security also is something very special. But what we're doing with crime, which will be your next question, I guess, that's because everyone's they're afraid. Half of the people here, maybe all of the people here, most of you live in D.C., you are petrified to go out. And you're liberal, and if you're liberal, you're going to have to change. You're Democrats, you're going to have to change your ways. So we will have crime under control very shortly in D.C., but they're record numbers, and sadly what I guess the mayor did, but whoever it was, they asked the numbers to be fudged so that it would show less crime than the fact. The fact is it's worse than it's ever been, and we will have it just like we did at the border, where the borders are totally in great shape right now, the best ever, record-setting shape. We'll have the crime situation solved in D.C. very soon. And we're also going to beautify the city. We have a beautiful city, but you can't have graffiti, and you can't have roads with potholes, and you can't have the medians, the dividers in the roads falling down on the street. We're going to be beautifying the city, making it really beautiful. We're going to be getting the criminals the hell out of here. We don't want the criminals in Washington, D.C.
Mr. President, one on your Putin meeting and then one on D.C. crime. Are you prepared to offer Vladimir Putin access to rare minerals to incentivize him to end the war?
We're going to see what happens with our meeting. We have a big meeting, and it's going to be, I think, very important for Russia, and it's going to be very important for us, and important for us only that we're going to save a lot of lives. Look, we have, you know, we're not paying any money as you know, to Ukraine. We're supplying equipment. We're being paid 100% plus for that equipment by NATO. And I got NATO up from 2% to 5% of GDP. They now have billions of dollars. NATO is a very rich group of countries, and we make the best military equipment anywhere in the world by far, and they're buying our equipment, and they're paying 100% for the equipment, 100%. In fact, they owe us about $2 billion now. They're going to send a check. Another one was sent recently for $1 billion. So we're not spending any money anymore. Biden gave them $350 billion, got nothing for it. And if you look, and by the way, we also signed a rare earth deal where we get, years of rare earth to get our money back, the money we spent. But what I'm really doing this for is to save thousands of soldiers a week. You have Russian soldiers, you have Ukrainian soldiers, and then you'll have missiles dropped into various cities and towns in Ukraine. And they're losing last week they lost 7,251 people, mostly soldiers, Russian and Ukrainian soldiers. I'm doing it for that reason. We have a meeting with President Putin tomorrow. I think it's going to be a good meeting, but the more important meeting will be the second meeting that we're having. We're going to have a meeting with President Putin, President Zelensky, myself, and maybe we'll bring some of the European leaders along, maybe not. I don't know that it's going to be very important. We're going to see what happens. And I think President Putin will make peace. I think President Zelensky will make peace. We'll see if they can get along. And if they can, it'll be great. I've solved 6 wars in the last 6 months, a little more than 6 months now, and I'm very proud of it. I thought the easiest one would be this one. It's actually the most difficult. We had one war raging, as you know, for 37 years. One in the Congo with Rwanda was raging for 31 years. We solved 6 of them, made peace, not just solved them, we made peace. If you look at Pakistan and India, planes were being knocked out of the air. 6 or 7 planes came down. They were ready to go. Maybe nuclear, we solved that. I thought this would be maybe an easier one. It never made sense, this war. It would have never happened when I was president. If I were president, this war would have never happened. But millions of people have been killed. And I'm there for one reason, to see if I can solve. This was Biden's war. This isn't my war. I want to see if I can stop the killing. Yeah.
Rare earths, do you plan to offer him access to that at all?
We have great rare earth. We made that as payment for all of the money that we've spent so foolishly in Ukraine. We've spent $350 billion. Now, Europe spent $1 billion. That's a lot of money. They spent $100 billion. That's a lot of money. But we shouldn't be spending a lot more money than them, and they understand that. And I think that's maybe why we're not spending money anymore. We're not spending any money. They're paying us for everything. So people are shocked when they hear it. They don't even understand. They don't even write about it. But we're not spending money, but we are spending a lot of time trying to get the war solved. If we can get the war solved, we'll be very happy. As far as rare earth, that's very unimportant relative to, I'm trying to save lives.
And on DC crime, sir, on DC crime.
Do you have a message for the Democrat lawmakers like Nancy Pelosi or media who are saying, after living here for many years, that there is no crime and you're trying to start a new news cycle?
It's another reason why the Democrats lost the election in a landslide. They lie. It's just lie. Look, the crime is very bad. I think they'd be much better off saying, we want to help President Trump with the crime because it's an epidemic. It's a tragic situation. It's the worst it's ever been. And we want to help President Trump with the crime, as opposed to, he's a dictator. He's a dictator. People are so happy to see our military going into D.C. and getting these thugs out. As you know, we arrested a lot of people yesterday. We arrested a lot of people today. We're getting people that have arrest records that you wouldn't believe. 28 arrests, 15 arrests, brutal, brutal people. And we're going to have to do something about this cashless bail, because people shoot somebody, they kill somebody, and they're out on the street in less than an hour. Now, that's when it's all started, in New York, in Chicago, Los Angeles. You take a look. If we didn't go to Los Angeles to help this incompetent governor and a mayor that doesn't know what the hell she's doing, if we didn't go to Los Angeles, you wouldn't have a big part of it burned down. The other part of it would have burned down too. you would have not had, I don't think you would have been able to have the Olympics. We have the Olympics. I have a lot at stake with that because I'm the one that got the Olympics. I got it in my first term, and I was saddened because I got it for what would be my third term, okay, which turned out to be second term. And the Olympics, it's a great honor, but I felt badly because I said I won't be president when the Olympics came. Well, through circumstance, I am president. I want to make sure the Olympics is great, the World Cup is great, and the 250, maybe the most important of all, is the 250-year celebration is great. So what's happening is we will work very hard. You would not have had, I don't believe that if I didn't send in the troops, I don't think you would have had Los Angeles in condition to have the Olympics. I think you would have had to tell them, I'm sorry, you're going to have to go someplace else. And if you look at the police commissioner or the sheriff, he said, we really needed them. Thank God they were here. We really needed them. That was the first 2 or 3 days. After we solved their problems, then he said, well, I think we could have maybe done it. No, he was told what to say. He said, you go back to your files and see what he said. He said, thank goodness they came. If I didn't go and put our military there, or National Guard in that case, and we'll go military if we have to, but the National Guard went there. They were very effective. If we didn't do that, I don't think you would have had the Olympics in Los Angeles. The place would have been just like the 25,000 houses that burned down, where, by the way, the governor ought to focus on getting their permits. You know, the federal permits are given. Those are the hard ones, and they were given a long time ago. People can't rebuild their house because they can't get permits from the state and the city, and they ought to focus on that because it's very upsetting. I went there right after the fires. I walked the streets and I met a lot of great people that want to rebuild their homes. We took care of it from the federal standpoint, but they're not taking care of it from the city standpoint, the mayor and the governor. They're not getting their permits. They can't build their houses.
Mr. President,
on DC crime. Go ahead, please.
Mr. President, thank you. Do you think this summit and the incentives for peace you are putting on the table could end up rewarding Putin for his invasion of Ukraine? And what kind of signal do you think that could potentially send to other aggressors?
No, I don't think it's a reward. I think that what we have is a situation that should never have started, should have never started. It didn't start under me, and for 4 years it wasn't even discussed. And I could see it was going to happen after I left. I could see what was happening. Everything that we did was wrong. Everything that was done was wrong. Everybody's to blame. Putin's to blame. They're all to blame. This is a war that would have never happened.
The other question on LA, Mr. President, earlier today, the Washington, D.C. police chief issued an executive order allowing Metropolitan police officers conducting traffic stops to notify federal immigration and customs enforcement about undocumented immigrants that they encounter. Yet the city has a long-standing pro-immigration policy, including allowing non-citizens to vote in local elections.
Which is ridiculous.
And limiting cooperation with federal immigration agencies.
Right.
Did your administration pressure the D.C. police chief to review and repeal these policies? And will you require other cities to roll back similar policies to avoid possible federal takeover of local law enforcement?
So what you're saying is that it was a very positive thing. When they stop people, they find they're illegal, they report them, they give them to us, etc. That's a very positive thing. I have heard that. It just happened. That's a great step. That's a great step if they're doing that. Yeah, I think that's going to happen all over the country. We want to stop crime. I think if the Democrats aren't strong on this issue, they won't be able to do it. I think this is a bigger issue than all of the other ridiculous things that they, like open borders. Well, open borders is bad. Open borders has caused a lot of this problem, allowing millions and millions. I think 24 million people were allowed to come into our country. Many of these people from prisons, from jails, from mental institutions. This was the Biden policy, and I don't believe it was him. He was never there before. It was the people that encircled this very beautiful desk, the Resolute desk. Radical left lunatics who were smart, but radical left. And I'm very happy to hear what you just said, because I've heard that.
And Mr. President, on LA, if I may, the mother of a 15-year-old California boy was briefly detained at gunpoint in a case of mistaken identity. The LAUSD superintendent says that surveillance video shows armed agents wearing police and border patrol insignia. Given the National Guard, the Border Control, ICE agents, they're not trained in local policing. What specific steps are you taking to ensure that young people are not put in harm's way with these types of operations?
Yeah, what they are trained in is common sense, and they're very tough people. And they have great common sense, and they are highly trained. I heard the mayor of LA was saying, oh, they're not trained this way. I heard this character from, where was he from? They talk about him as a candidate. He's got no chance. The governor of Maryland, I watched him this morning saying that the governor of Maryland, yeah, they say maybe he'll be a president. He's not presidential timber at all. But I heard him today talking about how the National Guard or the military is not trained in police, but they're trained in common sense, and they're trained in not allowing people to burn down buildings and bomb buildings and shoot people and all of the things. They've done a great job. Again, if we didn't send them, and very importantly, if we didn't send them into Los Angeles, the rest of Los Angeles would have been burned down to the ground. When you look at Minnesota, Minneapolis, I sent them into Minneapolis because the governor wouldn't make the call. If I didn't do that, you wouldn't have a Minneapolis. It wouldn't be, I don't think it would be existent today. You remember the famous scene burning over the CNN anchor's shoulder? He said, everything seems to be very peaceful. And behind him, the whole city's burning down. So you had the whack job governor who ran for vice president, who made a fool out of himself. You would have had, I saved that city. I'll tell you, I saved that city. So the bottom line is these are very tough people that are trained in a thing called common sense, and they're also trained in doing what we're talking about right now. And you watch crime stop, but you wouldn't have Los Angeles. It wouldn't be existent today. We would have had to cancel the Olympics if I let that go on.
Mr. President, will you pressure Israel to allow journalists into Gaza to cover the humanitarian efforts the U.S. is pursuing? And
I'd like to see that happen, June.
Would you pressure?
I would like to see it happen. I would be very fine with journalists going in. It's a very dangerous position to be in if you're.
All right, guys, that is Trump in his conversation and his questions and answering and all that good stuff. I'm not going to sit here for that whole entire conversation. I did want you to hear the meat and potatoes of it. I do, like I said earlier, Ukraine is going to give up that land. They have rare minerals. They don't have a win in this fight. I already said that. All right. Now, as far as all the other banter, the biggest thing that I wanted to figure out is the DC thing. Really not too much worried about anything else he said. Kudos to Social Security if it works. That's really all I'm going to leave that on. But the whole DC thing, we know DC to be a dangerous city, but we know DC to be, parts of DC to be dangerous. Now, as far as the District of Columbia itself and the Capital District, that's not the same thing. Now, the incidents that has happened over the past couple months is due to the influx of migrants and, you know, the cashless bail, which wall break, Clara Piven strategy. We've talked about that numerous times, and how they were going to overload the system and didn't allow these people to come out without any due just. Basically went into the Clara Piven situation. All right. Now, with DC right now, it's more or less because of the administrators that were attacked. Now, we know DC is dangerous. There are parts of DC that are fairly dangerous. That is like outside of the Capital District, in the neighborhoods and where people live at. Now, I'm not against people cleaning up the neighborhoods, this and that. Like I said, these people tend to hide behind noble causes. So I just don't want to sit here and get my panties all wet on the fact that you think this man is the Messiah. That's all I'm saying. Now, if it is for the noble cause of cleaning up DC and supposed to be draining the swamp, then great. I'll take it. Take my victory where I can get it. But I'm not buying. Now, he mentioned he should have a third term. Take it how you want to. But whatever. He would be the first since I think, I want to say, I could be wrong. I know it was like World War I, because it's the only reason you could get a third presidency term if there's like a world war. And I want to say Roosevelt, could be Hoover. I feel like I'm wrong. It's one of them. Nonetheless, Says he's supposed to have a third term. That's his business. I'm not getting into that one either. But big thing that I did mention was Ukraine was going to end up pretty much giving up all their land. They're in debt to the banking system. There's nothing Ukraine can do anymore. They're not going to pay that money back. They're going to give up the land. Russia's going to take half. America's going to take half. It's going to go from there. So for the most part, dead news. As far as the wars in Africa, he has a valid point. They've been fighting for 30-something years. They did kind of have a cease agreement. So that does go to him too. There's some uncomfortable truths. Now, do I trust this? No. Other coverage. So no, I don't trust him. You guys know that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to let you guys watch this on your own time, or I might just go ahead and fade out and let it play out. Then when it ends, I'll end the stream. But I'm going to go ahead and end my session. You guys have a good day. I might pop up again another week or so. But like I said last time, I'm all about documentaries, leaving a footprint, and really taking this thing the distance. I don't want to just do it and talk recklessly online. That's just not what I'm about. So we'll see where TDRH Media goes. Still the Daily Rabbit Hole. Cleaned up the name. See what happens. Should be fun. You guys are a little bit more receptive. I'm starting to see things change as far as the algorithm and how it's handling my content. So what you're seeing being posted on my page is just test. We're just seeing what's being allowed, what's liked, and what's not liked. So right now, I'm working quietly in the background, but I'm not putting a whole lot of effort into jumping on here and streaming and making content. I got hundreds and thousands of hours of content already. I don't really have to make content for the rest of the year. That's what happens when you got like 72 episodes. 72 episodes, guys. Think about that. 72 episodes of content. 2-3 hours at a time, each show. And then I clip that content up. And then that content got clipped up a little bit more. So I got a lot of content that I got to put out, pull it out the vault, off the hard drive, and just put it out there. That's really what I'm doing. I'm just seeing what's working, what's not working, testing it out. New graphics, new feel, new formats, new segments. TDRH Files is going to stay because I really like that one. Probably going to do one probably today or tomorrow. Probably do it in the morning. I like to get those out early. So look for that, TDRH Files. I got a person, Edward Cordesign. He's a 19-year-old Doge employee. He is the gentleman that was assaulted in D.C. Just feel the need to kind of make, caught some information I think is strange. Let's put it out there and see where it goes, all right? See how you guys feel about it. Nonetheless, I appreciate you. Thank you. Have a good day. Enjoy the rest of your work day, guys. Here you go.
Very shortly after this meeting, I'd like to see it actually happen maybe in Alaska where we just stay because it's so much easier. But I think that it's going to be very interesting. We're going to find out where everybody stands, and I'll know within the first 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, or 5 minutes, like we tend to find out whether or not we're going to have a good meeting or a bad meeting. And if it's a bad meeting, it'll end very quickly. And if it's a good meeting, we're going to end up getting peace in the pretty near future, okay? How about one more?
Thank you, Mr. President. On the Smithsonian, I know that your administration is seeking to weed out a lot of this left-wing spin that's in the museums, but we're seeing from people like Brian Stelter or other commentators that they're insinuating that you are trying to change history according to your narrative. What's your response to that, and is there anything you particularly like to do?
Well, we want the museums to treat our country fairly. We want the museums to talk about the history of our country in a fair manner, not in a woke manner or in a racist manner, which is what many of them, not all of them, but many of them are doing. Our museums have an obligation to represent what happened in our country over the years, good and bad, but what happened over the years in an accurate way. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, press. Thank you, press. Thank you. Thanks, guys. Cut it out right here. Thank you, press. Thanks, guys. Cut out right this way, right this way. Thanks, guys. Keep coming.
You see the video of the sandwich thrown at the officer?
Thanks, guys. Thanks, guys. Thank you, press.